welcome. This is my good friend, Ms. Paige Faure. So good morning. How are you? It is still morning. It's 11:06. What time did you get up this morning?
I woke up at 5:15 a.m.
Oh, how did you do it?
Bird. So if anybody out there wants a private lesson at 6 a.m., I'm ready.
Oh, I'm always ready to sing at 6 a.m.
Listen, you never know what your professional career will give you, and you got to do the Today Show at some point, and you're singing high C's at 7 a.m.
You're not
I'm
wrong. I always remembered with dread those really early morning, like, oh yes, we've got you a slot at 9:30 in the morning, and you're like,
I mean, that was always my thing, especially on the road with Cinderella. We would have to do press everywhere, that every city we would be in. And it was always like I had to get up 2 hours before I would even leave just so I would have that
well, and
ability.
I suppose you also had the added downside that you had to sort of do that unfair thing of you had to have the perfect hair and makeup and all of those sort of things that was required.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh,
tell us a little bit about your career. I mean, I obviously know some of the more major points because I've known you a little while, but I certainly don't know where you started. I don't know where were you brought up. I don't even know that sort of stuff.
I'm from Atlanta, and
Where's
and I
that
grew up.
then?
Well, it comes out when I say Atlanta.
Ah,
It's so I grew up as a dancer mostly. I loved dance storytelling, so I feel like my studio growing up always was very good about making sure that we were telling stories or conveying emotions or conveying ideas through dance. And so it became very simple for me to move into musical theater when I started singing in middle school, and ended up going to a performing arts high school where
mm,
I, really honed what I think is, the best of who I am as a performer now, which is as a true triple threat. I was able to take, standalone acting classes and film classes. I was able to take standalone, private voice lessons to really understand the art and the science of singing. And then because I had my background as a dancer, that was something that I just knew I already had. So in some ways, actually, a lot of my performing arts high school was helping me let go of dancer stance, coming in
mm.
for our mock auditions, and I would stand in first position and they'd go, no, 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 just be a human.
No,
you know.
I. Mm.
So then cut to I just auditioned for every college there ever was for musical theater. Got into a lot of them, but I chose Marymount Manhattan College. So I moved to New York City when I was 18 and majored. I was actually a directing major there,
Oh,
um, and
fantastic.
with a musical theater minor. I had a great year there. I had wonderful teachers, and who really saw, what my strengths were and really allowed me to cultivate them. And also were, fairly encouraging of us, using the resources of the city, and seeing shows and going to auditions. And I happened to go to some auditions, and I booked the national tour of Aida while in my freshman year at Marymount. So I dropped out. Sorry, parents, but I am a college dropout. But I dropped out to work and to do what I came to New York to do. So after Aida, I went on several national tours right in a row. I was Aida, Little Women, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, and a chorus line were pretty much right in a row. And I turned that into my years of college in a way. And really got to work in real time on creating characters. And, oftentimes, like, especially in a chorus line, I was understudying everyone and I had so many different characters. And so I had to figure out, how do I nuance and change all of these people while still being, you know, 5'7" curly haired me. I made my Broadway debut after that, in How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying, featuring Daniel Radcliffe. And then we had Darren Criss from Glee come in,
Uh,
and Nick Jonas come in the leads. So, and I ended up taking over. I understudied again. I understudied three of the main women in the show, and then eventually took over for Hetty LaRue for a little bit. And again, it was really such a learning opportunity for and a way for me to do everything that I do, which is be in the ensemble and dance hard. It was, Rob Ashford is like one of the great choreographers of our time, And, so being able to do his choreography and, cover these incredible women, that were, so dynamic and different, Smitty and Hetty, and Miss Jones were the three that I covered. And, it was, again, running kind of the gamut of personalities. So it was, again, another time for me to just exercise versatility, which is, I think, one of my, again, passionate things about being in this business, is being able to do, or at least comfortable with a little bit of everything. So yeah, that was my Broadway debut. I then was in the ensemble of Cinderella for a little bit. I helped develop it through the workshops and dance labs. I was in a Susan Stroman and Woody Allen show called Bullets Over Broadway, and then took over the lead role of Cinderella on Broadway. Went out on tour with it as well, and then came back and did Miss Saigon on Broadway. And in between all of that, of course, one of the things I've worked on the most is our readings and lab agreements and workshops of musicals, which is, for anyone that doesn't know, the creative process of putting a musical together. So I often am called by some of my favorite directors and choreographers to come in and help create the movement or pattern, or or be even just the body in the room that says, okay, what is right, what is not right in the telling of this story. And so that's where my passion really lies. I think performance pays better, but the creative process pays more in heart dividends,
especially more in musical theatre, where it's such a more of a diverse picture, because you've got the different elements rather than a specific sort of scene. You've got the music, you've got the actual singing, which is separate from the music too. You tend to have the dance involved in a way that you don't tend to get with more straight with primarily just spoken theatre. So I think
right. And you can always tell, I think that's why, like, a lot of times I end up working with people who are director choreographers who kind of do everything, because you can tell when you see a show, when there's like, kind of butting heads of like the director, being really on the actor side and seeing the scene work in one way, the choreographer having this flavor of what the choreography will be, the music has its own flavor, and you can see when those parts don't quite agree or don't quite mesh. And
well, it's that thing of you can see where the director's gone, right, now can you take over for the dance bit? So you'll have a
exactly.
It's always fun.
That's why in some ways, like, being a director choreographer, which is, I think, one of the things that I gravitate towards is you already have that cohesive whole in there. You see that, the big picture and how you can flesh that out into the small picture. And so,
and of course, it became a lot more prominent. We got some really big, sort of like Jerry Mitchell just became, huge, doing exactly that. And you would never be able to turn around and say that there's a man who choreographs and he directs a bit of the show as well. I mean, it's amazing the work.
Yeah, he does a great job. Robbie Bashford is the same. Casey Nicola, Casey Nicola is the king of it right now. It's so it's exciting to see that kind of come back, of the likes of, like, Bob Fosse back in the day too. Is it's like you see how that just works, because again, there's just, one person at the top kind of governing over everything and seeing how it can all blend together.
And they lead the way and it trickles down for everybody else.
Totally. Which is why, here's my segue, which is why I like to teach triple threat classes, because to me, it's kind of a lost art form in terms of, students learning, how do you truly blend all these elements together, to express one whole, bit of story or emotion or whatever it is that you're going for. One song, it's how does your physicality, fuel your voice? How does your voice fuel the way you then speak afterwards or before? And so that's what I want to do with our triple threat class, is be able to, everybody be able to see the blend of all these things and see how fun it can be. It's like this like lovely puzzle piece to put together, to create something so that you don't feel like, oh, I'm just dancing now or I'm just singing now. It's like, no, it is like,
there's a significant proportion of the studio that take dance lessons, are in dance schools, very good dance schools. I'm not in any way being disparaging about it. But anytime I'll say, okay, well, how about we pick a song which amalgamates, which fuses the two, and the look of the excitement of the scene is going to allow you to dance, and I'll still see the student kind of go, "But I'm singing, I," and
But
it's
see,
literally the,
that brings it back to the heart of what makes a musical a musical. Like, why do we sing in musicals? Well, because we become so overcome with emotion that, we can only let it out through the art of song. Same with dance. Why do we move? In real life, you wouldn't, just go, I'm so overcome with emotion, I'm gonna roll a shoulder, like, but that's what we do in musicals. So how do we fuel that so it's not just I say this one thing and then my teacher told me to roll my shoulder. It's I
absolutely.
say this one thing and ooh, it makes me want to roll my shoulder,
Yeah.
and
So, how do you feel having your concept and directorial background, even though it was more educative than in your actual career? How do you feel that's helped you in what you do now, either performing or teaching?
for me, it's helped because, and it helps me with teaching audition technique particularly because, I feel like I tend to have a fairly good idea of what I'm conveying, and because I'm able to kind of step outside myself, and additionally, I'm able to understand that a director is never just looking at one thing. He's not looking at, oh my gosh, did they hit that high note perfectly or not. It's, just does the whole of that person really fit into the puzzle piece that they're creating. And so in some ways it's helped me be able to release and relax after auditions because I go, I did everything I could do, now it's up to them. You always hope that they're rooting for you, and as a director, I would be rooting for everyone to do their best work because I just need to fill all these pieces of the puzzle.
I've
um you
always
know
said to students that the role is not about who's got the best voice or who can hit the highest note or who can dance the best. It's who most embodies the character that's going to propel the story. So it doesn't
yes,
matter if you're an amazing singer, if the character you're playing is meant to be sweet and kind and lovely.
right.
That's what you need to be, not an amazing singer. Great if you happen to be able to portray the role with an amazing voice, but it's
Mhm.
about inhabiting the role.
Yeah, authenticity within these, parameters that you set for yourself. If you look at what a character is, you get a set of audition, sides, the script, and you see, okay, like what are A, B, C, D, and E about this person? How can I most authentically embody those things? Because, they're going to assume the voice is there. And that's what in audition technique we would talk about is, how do you get out of your own way? How do you let the nervousness and all of that get out of the way so that you can shine, like walking into the room with peace so that you can be that, authentic you so that they can then hire you.
But you also have to understand you're playing for the audience. So while it's great as an actor to be able to feel and inhabit a role, your job is not to be entertained, it's to be entertaining in whatever
Yeah.
format that is. Entertaining is probably a lighter term, but it's the audience's job. They've paid to be entertained.
Exactly, and there, and again, all three elements do that. Of course, the authenticity of your acting chops need to come through. It's important to have the ability and the tool set to come at characters from all different avenues, whether it is coming from the physicality or knowing it's a big singer show, and the voice needs to be the focus of it. Okay, and then we craft everything around that, or is it super dance driven, and and that needs to inform everything else. It's but being able to come at it from all the different ways is a great tool to be able to kind of pull out at any given point.
Absolutely. You're looking to provide a couple of different options for us. The most important things for me, and something I've been looking to bring into the studio for a long time, is an audition skills, audition prep, just or general audition and performance skills class. I'm so excited. And people such as yourself are so rare. People who have just such a wide range of knowledge and experience to pass on. Mm.
I almost feel like this will be good for me too, is it's like getting back into the room is going to be kind of this robot feeling of like, how do we do all this again? So let's go through that together, and I want to say that, like, I think, yes, I've auditioned as an actor, I've auditioned as a singer, I've auditioned as a dancer, I've been in every possible situation, I think, one can be in as, an actor auditioning for different types of shows. And so that's, what I will bring into my class. And, and I also want to say, wholeheartedly, that this is a place where you can fail with fun, like, is make sure that if you come to this audition class, like, come with a sense of, I'm probably going to mess this up. And that's okay. This is the place to do that,
And because
because
everybody else will too,
yes,
including
because
the
I'm
teachers.
gonna raise your standard. Like, I want you to, to level up, but I am the least judgmental person in the entire world. So, like, so there's never gonna be this like, oh man, like, what are they bringing in today? Bring in your authentic self, which may mean that you're stumbling a bit, and that's okay.
We also talked a little bit about a triple threat class, which I think would be
Yes.
absolutely fascinating. As I said,
Mhm.
there are dance studios, but what I feel that they would be missing is a performer of your immense caliber, um, teaching these skills and these transitional skills, but not just transitional, also the amalgamation of doing two and three things at once.
Amalgamation is totally it, is it's, and again, because I feel like the basis of my training was, I really studied acting as its own thing, and then I really studied voice with a voice teacher as its own thing, and I really studied dance as, like, on the Trina ballerina course and modern dance course, and so then it was for me, I found all my own tools for threading those things together, and that's what the triple threat class will be, is it will be, getting into the nitty gritty of what it is that we're trying to say as an actor, how the different ways we can use our voice physically and, and just scientifically to, continue to convey that story, but then also bringing physical movement in it. There will be a little bit of dancing, but, a lot of what I do will be crafted around you, the student, so it won't be, I'm trying to level you up to this high level that you're not at. I will meet you where you are and we will go up from there.
You're also interested in providing actors movement.
Yeah, no, I mean, and that's the expectation now, is, you're not going to stand alone and sing anymore. You are going to be expected to move in some capacity. And I've watched some really famous actors who thought they would never dance in their life suddenly dance in front of, 1,500 people every night, 8 shows a week on Broadway. That is why I think movement for actors is so important, because, again, like, it's very rare that if you are truly an actor singer and that is what you do, you're going to be asked to do a triple tour pirouette, whatever. So being able to just be comfortable in a room, knowing a little bit of terminology, and again, knowing how your physicality comes
Yeah,
across.
yeah. Now, I'm going to ask my final question. How have you found and have you been teaching on Zoom?
No, I mean, Zoom, to me, I've found a lot of success on Zoom. And it's different from school. Like, school is, is just a lot of information and it's not super animated. But all of that to say, like, we've worked over this year, both of us, on, how do we present on Zoom in such a way that makes it really fun and exciting and someplace you want to be. And we're going to be physical. Every class that I teach is going to be up and moving and doing things, so it's going to be not just staring at a screen the whole time. So I found a great deal of success. And of course, like in real life, the longer that we stay together and really work together and we get to know each other personally, through the classes, the more successful it will be, and the more fun it will be. And so I look forward to connecting with your students, Tom, and creating beautiful art together.
I could not be more excited to have you coming to offer us some things, and also private coaching. If somebody wishes some private audition coaching, my goodness, if that doesn't get you working to your maximal ability at the time very quickly, I don't know what could. But Paige, just could not be more thrilled to have you come and work with us, work with our students. It's just so amazing to see somebody who has maximized these skills, creative sense and choreography, dance, and your voice is astonishing. We've sung together a few times now. So just an amazing, amazing teacher and performer. But most of all, just the way you are with all of our students when you've worked with us on summer camps as co-director, it's been amazing. And the kids
Yay.
absolutely love you. So thank you so much for coming and offering to work with our wonderful kids. Paige, thank you so much, Paige Faure.
All right. Thank you very much.